Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be turning this blank here, which is a combination of Purple Heart, Padauk, Zebrano, Maple, Ash and Walnut. Now I've never turned a bowl with 6 layers in before, but I think it's going to turn out really well, so we're going to get started. I've mounted it on the lathe and I'm now going to get to turning it. Now as you can see, there isn't that much space on the banjo of the tool rest. I'm hoping it'll be alright. There's about 3mm gap. This is a rather big bowl blank, and I probably should have cut the corners, but I'm thinking it will be fine. We're going to have a look. If it's not, we'll just simply take it off the lathe and cut the corners. I started by using my round scraper to turn this bowl from being square into a nice round shape. I did find it quite a challenge to turn, due to there being so many different layers and different types of wood. It was rather difficult. Although I did find the Padauk to be very pleasant to turn, so I might make another bowl out of some Padauk at some stage. Again, the ash and the walnut were also very easy to turn. It was mostly the Purple Heart and the Zebrano which I found very difficult. Alright, so if we have a look at the blank, it's okay, but there's a lot of bits that need sorting. There's a bit of tear out here. This all needs to be curved anyway, as well as here. There was a lot of tear out whilst turning this, and it didn't turn particularly well, but I think that's to do with there being so many different woods in here. It's just changing from soft, hard, soft sort of pattern of wood, so it's not turning as well as I would like. But if we actually look at the blank, it's not actually straight when I turn it, if you see what I mean. If you look at the piece of mango here, so when we part it, we're going to need to part about there, because otherwise we're going to end up with a wonky bowl. Using a new piece of wood for the faceplate section would have made a lot more sense, but I don't really like to waste wood, so I made do with the old one. It did work, it was just a bit more of a challenge to turn. As you can see here though, the shavings are absolutely beautiful off of the Padauk and the walnut, as well as the ash. So I've been turning this for a long time now, but it's really not turning very well. It's making a horrible chattery noise, almost like the lathe's on a too fast a speed, but it's only on the second belt. Second pulley size, so I have no idea what the horrible noise is. It's just like chatter, chatter, chatter. It's basically like a chattering noise. But I'm happy with the shape now on the outside. There's a lot of tear out here, and I don't know why. I've never had. This is like, I would have thought this would have happened when I was beginning turning. It shouldn't be happening now. So I'm wondering if it is actually the wood, because I can turn the walnut, Padauk, and ash perfectly, but when I come to the maple, it's pretty much okay, but the Zebrano and the Purple Heart are turning horribly, and that might also be down to my skill experience, I am aware. So we're now going to sand this up on the outside. As you can see, it's not perfectly balanced, so we're going to end up having to cut it at a slight angle in order to make the segments look right when it's orientated. So I'm going to be sanding up from 80 grit, and I've got some sanding grit belts here. I then sanded from 80 grit to remove any rough tool marks, then moved up to 120 grit, which smooths out the previous marks, up to 180 grit, and follow with 240 grit, before adding 400 grit and applying Woodturner's blend at the end. So hopefully you can see, the bowl is going much better than I thought it would have, and it's got a really nice shine to it, and that's just from all the way up to 400 grit. So now we've got the daunting task of hollowing this out. I was thinking about using my drill chuck to use a forceps bit to go into it, but I've decided I'm just going to try and do it normally using my round scraper. I'm using this faithful round scraper, which I'm a big fan of. It doesn't seem to be quite as sharp as usual, but I do keep on sharpening it, so hopefully it will turn nicely. This old faceplate section is half the reason why this bowl isn't going as well, because it's not perfectly flat, because there's a bit here. So I think that was the biggest issue with this bowl, was using the wrong faceplate section. I think I just need to use a new one for each bowl, rather than trying to salvage old ones. I then started to hollow the inside of the pot, and this is where most of my problems started to arise, as I'll go on to explain, but most of it was due to tool presentation angle and where I had positioned the tool rest relative to the sides of the pot where I was hollowing it. But hopefully this will help you guys so you don't make the same mistakes I have. So this bowl really isn't turning well. The chatter is just unpleasant and it's horrible to turn. So I'm feeling like I'm going to give up with this, but I've got one last chance to make it work, which is using this forceps bit to hollow out up until there. I haven't actually got that much more to go. The issue is trying to get these walls flatter against these sides is near enough impossible, because the chatter is just vibrating my hand so much it's actually painful to turn. So yeah, I'm not happy at all, but I'm going to try. Let's see. Using the chuck made a massive difference, as it helped remove so much of the material. I was using a 40mm Forstner bit, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, removes an awful lot of material in a very short space of time. What I should have done here is move the torus 90 degrees so it's almost touching the sides of the pot, and that would mean there's a less overhang from the tool, so therefore there won't be as much force exerted on the tool and it won't cause chatter. Okay, so all I did was change my tool presentation angle, but that's really seemed to have helped with turning the inside of this bowl. The outside is really nice, the inside needs sanding, but I have actually managed to make it work, somehow, just by changing the tool presentation angle to bring it up at a slightly higher angle against the side of the bowl. I've actually managed to turn this, and this is my biggest turning creation ever. I've never turned anything this tall, and to be honest, after all the stress of trying to turn it, I'm really happy I've actually managed to get into it and turn it. As I've just explained, changing the tool presentation angle did help a lot, but the biggest issue was not moving the tool rest. I then sanded again on the inside all the way up from 80 grit, 120 grit, 180 grit, 240 grit and 400 grit, just to create a really smooth finish for applying some food safe finish to the inside. I then applied Woodturner's blend on the outside and buffed it off with a bit of kitchen roll and applied food safe finish to the inside. Due to the issues I found turning this pot, I decided it was safer to just cut it off with a tenon saw. However, I've learned an awful lot making this pot, and I hope you guys have learned something too. Thank you for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment and share this video around.